Good morning, and thank you for tuning into the Andrew Tate Show, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We've got a great show for you guys today. We're going to be covering LeBron James and his future with the Lakers. We'll also be talking more on the college name, image, and likeness antitrust case versus the NCAA. We'll also be talking about the Dallas Cowboys agreed to terms with Ezekiel Elliott. We'll also be touching on the Kelsey brothers, and make sure that you guys stick around for later in the show when we'll be diving into our dumb criminal story for the week. Before we start, though, I want to ask that you guys like and follow the show. Also, we get a number of questions from the viewers that come in during the show, so to ensure that your question gets read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. That link is gsmcpodcast.net. This just puts your question at the top of the list so that I can see it, and it also really helps the show. Flew right through that. I was pretty impressed with myself with that.
I was waiting on you to say good morning, Tate, or anything.
Good morning, Tate.
I'm like, I'm just going to be quiet. I'm not going to jump ahead today. But you decided to step back, look in the mirror like, yeah, I'm awesome.
I did that.
All right. How are you doing, Miss Faith?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I am doing good. Okay, so right before this started, Faith and I were talking about, because we didn't do a show yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I had a medical emergency that I had to tend to, not for me, but a friend of mine that was visiting from London.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave Faith. I gave Faith.
The Faith.
The Faith.
The one and only.
I gave the Faith the option of just doing the show by herself,
mm-hmm.
or not doing the show.
Yes.
And what did you choose, Faith?
I decided to take a mental health day because yesterday was my first day of no class. So I was like, I did consider doing the show. I really, really did ponder it. And then I was like, well, I was given the option not to do a show if I didn't want to. And so I was like, I'll take the day off.
I can't lie, when I came back from the hospital and I looked, because I was curious. I was definitely curious, and I'm like, what is she going to talk about? If she does the show, what is she going to cover? So I was super curious. I'm like, if this show turns into the Taylor Swift hour, like I would have to strangle her, but other than that, I knew she'd be fine.
I'm not a Swiftie, really. I support her, but
I think listen, I think you're a closet Swiftie.
I'm not. I would be honest if I listened to Taylor Swift, and I definitely don't. It's not my cup of tea, but I'm not a hater either. I would never hate on Taylor Swift.
Okay, here's another question I would love to. I want to hear your take on.
Okay.
As I mentioned, I have friends from London and Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
And after we went to the checking on a friend that's in the hospital from London, we had lunch. We went to lunch, and we were talking about the royal family. Mm-hmm. And the gentleman that was a friend of mine, he was saying that Americans are obsessed and love the royal family.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, I don't think they're obsessed with the royal family. We don't look at them as like our king and our queen.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of look at them as kind of like celebrity gossip. And so I compared it to the Queen Elizabeth as Betty White, an older statesman that we loved. And then I said, the rest of them, we kind of look at like the Kardashians. Like, am I off on that one? How would you take that one? I'm very curious, because I said I look at it as more celebrity news. When I hear about the royal family, then I don't look at them as like.
I think with that statement, you probably have just offended a lot.
Oh, yes. That's the whole point of this whole conversation, because we had this long debate about that.
I don't.
You look at celebrity gossip or elder statesmen on the presidents.
I guess it would be a little bit of both, because I do recognize that, oh, this is England's, monarchy. So always in the back of
Mhm.
my head, this is like, well, these are very prominent, important
Important
figures.
people. Yes,
Um,
I agree with that
but
part.
with the things that were coming out, with Princess Kate and the photo editing stuff and everything like that, the conspiracy theories that were going on around that, I enjoyed like reading and watching and seeing all the stuff that was going on with
So
that.
like celebrity
Um,
gossip, right?
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So we're saying the same thing. I look at it as celebrity gossip with a little sprinkle of like
Monarchy.
we understand that these are leaders of countries or
Mm-hmm.
part of the royal family, the monarchy for the UK. But when we consume it, it's not like Vladimir Putin threatens to,
Well, I
bomb
was about to
Ukraine. It's
say,
different.
I'm sure there are a lot of people on the outside of the United States looking in and viewing some of our
Oh, sweet
prominent
girl.
figures in that sense. So,
I'm not
you
gonna say
know,
I don't we're not going
we're
down
not going to
that.
go into that, but I'm
Ooh,
just
no.
saying.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I need to take a knee right now. Just because as
So,
bad as I say we look at the royal family as more celebrity with a little bit of understanding that their political leaders or monarchies. Now, our political system, I look at it as politics with a side order of just craziness going on.
mhm.
So
Yeah.
we've been taking it to the next level. We're gonna end that there. No one's political. We're not talking any political views. Just saying how we view the monarchy.
Hmm.
Anyway, this went down another alley that I didn't want to go to.
Yeah.
So how about we talk about some sports?
Okay. Alrighty, so our first segment today, the story comes from CBS News. So LeBron James reiterates that his Lakers' future is undecided, quoting, "I do not know yet." LeBron James has now played 6 seasons with the Los Angeles Lakers, one more, and he would match his first run with the Cleveland Cavaliers for his longest tenure with a single team. The choice to reach that milestone, thanks to a player option in his contract, is entirely in his hands. At this moment, James is seemingly still on the fence about whether or not he would like to do so. The Lakers were eliminated from the postseason by the Denver Nuggets on Monday, which naturally prompted questions about James's future in Los Angeles. If he has made up his mind, he's decided not to share a decision. When asked if there was any thought about whether or not this could be his last game as a Lakers following Monday's loss, James took a lengthy pause and declined to answer. As speculation surrounded James on Tuesday following his elimination, he took to social media to reiterate that he does not know what his future holds. "I've heard a lot of reports about my future. I said last night, and I'll say it again, I do not know yet, as I'm only thinking about spending time with my family and friends. When I know after speaking with the fam, my counsel, as well as my representation about it, then you guys will know," James wrote. James tends to keep his cards close to the chest when it comes to off-season plans. He has changed teams on 3 occasions, and he controlled the messaging involved in each one of those moves. In 2010, he announced his move to the Miami Heat on a televised interview he titled "The Decision." In 2014, he revealed that he planned to return to the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first-person letter published by Sports Illustrated, and his 2018 move to the Lakers was announced in a press release by Clutch Sports, his agency.
Okay. So I'm gonna break this into I'm gonna touch on what you just talked about right here.
Mm-hmm.
Second,
Okay.
we were out yesterday. You took a little mental health. I was helping a friend who had gone to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't get a chance to talk about Freddy Cougar.
Jokic.
And that's the whole thing. Was I surprised that the Lakers lost?
No.
No. Was I surprised the way the Lakers lost?
No.
No. Is it weird? Make sure everyone knows I'm a Laker fan. I'm a LeBron James fan.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a Laker fan since I was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt relieved when this was over. And I know that's bad. But I watched this series and Denver was clearly the better team. And
Mm-hmm.
it just went as follows. Lakers start out strong, high energy. They, you know, first half comes in, Lakers have done well. They're leading. Denver makes a run in the third quarter and finishes off in the fourth quarter. No different.
Same stuff, different day.
Right. So then this game came around and the Lakers are back against the wall. They're gonna make it's all or get swept again. And I felt like when they won the game that I thought it would be incredibly hard for them to win another game. I had it in 5 games from the beginning. I thought it was going to be a gentleman's sweep. If you remember me saying that
Mm-hmm.
they would win 1 game, that's what they did. Uh, and so when they had that win and people were talking about can the Lakers make a comeback, I really thought no. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, maybe if Murray is really injured, turned out he wasn't really injured. He just came through and had a fine game. But ultimately, when I looked around and I looked at this, the better team was Denver.
Mm-hmm.
As long as Denver was in the playoffs, I felt like the Lakers never had a chance at the NBA Finals. And so I didn't look at this as a championship team. Uh, so I kind of felt relief, like, okay, finally it's over. We don't have to take any more butt whoopings from the Denver Nuggets. Jokic can stop haunting us and we can move on. So there's no surprise there, just more relief. You knew Freddy Cougar was coming to get you, and it happened, and it's
Mm-hmm.
over. Now, LeBron, if I was the Lakers, I'd be making plans. I would be making I would be making very, very serious plans about preparing for what the Los Angeles Lakers are going to be like without LeBron James. Number one, he's old.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is LeBron, everywhere he has gone and everywhere he has left, it has not been a good situation. And what I mean by a good situation is, like I said, I'm a LeBron supporter, not necessarily a fan, but a supporter. When LeBron left Cleveland with the decision, he blindsided the organization who thought he was coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And that the organization went into a tailspin, and everyone knows it's very well known. He goes to Miami, big fanfare. Everyone's excited. Everyone in Miami is super excited. LeBron's contract comes up. They're ready. They're ready for him to decide. He's like, I'm trying to decide on my future. Bam, blindsided the Miami Heat, and they weren't prepared for it. Then he goes back to Cleveland. He goes back. He wins a championship. He doesn't tell anyone anything, but they know.
Mm-hmm.
And then bam, they're surprised. My whole point is those who do not learn from history repeats. And this is one of those situations where do not expect LeBron to come back. If he comes back, that's a bonus. But if I'm making any of my plans, I have to say my top plan is figuring out life without LeBron
Mm-hmm.
immediately. Like LeBron's done in LA unless he decides to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And you just don't know where he's going to decide. Does Bronny, it depends on where's Bronny
Yeah,
going,
I was gonna mention that.
everything. You don't know if Bronny's going to stay. He's in the transfer portal. He's up for a draft. Does Bronny go to a new town, a new city, and LeBron goes with him?
Mm-hmm.
That's a strong possibility. Does Bronny get drafted and LeBron goes with him? That's a strong possibility. Ultimately, I think the Lakers should start preparing for it. Now, the question is, should you want LeBron to come back? That's the question that popped in my head when I heard this story. That LeBron was very quiet and held close to the vest on should the Lakers turn the page on LeBron. I can make a case, yes. I can definitely make a case, yes. And here's the reason why. In order for the Lakers to, like right now, looking at where they're at, the Lakers haven't figured out Denver, not even a second. No chance of figuring out Denver. Next year, LeBron is even older. Anthony Davis is a little bit older. This is the first year that Anthony Davis was healthy. It's no guarantee that Anthony Davis can duplicate this back-to-back years. So you have an older LeBron, a questionable Anthony Davis, and you start looking at your pitch at your team and saying, really, do you have an NBA championship team? Oklahoma City, incredibly good, great team, is only going to be better. Minnesota is going to be better. The New Orleans Pelicans is going to be better, and Denver already has your number. Is it time for the Lakers to start to rebuild? Start rebuilding. I think they should.
Mm-hmm.
Let LeBron go to wherever LeBron is going. If you can do a sign and trade, that would be fantastic. But I think what's best for the Lakers would be to move on from LeBron. And I'm a fan of LeBron, but I'm more of a fan of the Lakers. And when you look at it, what do you accomplish if you say we're going to bring LeBron back? One, that means you're going to have to do away with what little picks you have left and package up players to try to find a third superstar because you don't have enough with what you have right now. So you're going to have to gut your future, which you've already, to make your team be able to compete with the Oklahoma cities, the New Orleans, the Minnesota, and the Dallas. So looking at that, I don't know if you can get better unless you're going to be able to get in a Kevin Durant type of a player. So with that being said, it may be time to turn the page with LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm getting at there.
It'll be interesting to see if that actually happens and what's going to happen to the Lakers without LeBron if that happens.
Yes, I mean it's kind of a scary proposition when you look at the Lakers are over in a bad place because
Mm-hmm.
do you go all in with a 40-year-old
Right.
legend,
Mm-hmm.
which means you're going to have to gut your future for the next decade because they don't have a lot of draft picks, so you're going to have to pretty much totally be prepared after he leaves to completely blow things up, or you start moving forward now. And I think
Mm-hmm.
the best situation, what's best for the Lakers is to move forward. What's
Mm-hmm.
best for LeBron it's pretty much whatever LeBron wants. Go with his son or stay in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to tell you, everywhere he's gone, every team that he's left, he kind of left them in kind of a lurch where they're reeling. And the
Mm-hmm.
Lakers right now, if he just blindsides them and says he's leaving, again, they're a team that's reeling because the Lakers without LeBron is a lottery team.
Mm-hmm.
And so they need to start making moves right now. And I think it's a smart move to move on without LeBron.
Well, I guess we'll have to. He's got a couple months, so we'll see what happens with that.
uh,
But with that, guys, we're going to take our first break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about college sport leaders and deep talks to settle the name, image, and likeness antitrust case versus the NCAA. So make sure you guys stick around, and we will be back in a minute.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were talking about LeBron James and his future with the Lakers, undecided. And now we're going to be talking about the college football name, image, and, or not, I don't think it's strictly football, excuse me. The college name, image, and likeness antitrust case versus the NCAA. But before we do that, I just want to remind you guys to like and follow the show. Also, we get a number of questions from the viewers that come in during the show, so to ensure that your question gets read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. That link is gsmcpodcast.net. Let's just put your question at the top of the list so I can see it, and it also really helps the show.
Okay, before we dive into our what we're going to be talking about, Faith and I were talking about we were during the break. I was talking about, man, I'm hungry, and Faith was talking about how she's hungry. And yesterday when I went to lunch, have you ever heard of what a full English breakfast is?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. When as living in the US, I always thought it was like, I'm like, that's just not a good breakfast. And I'm gonna send you a picture. I'm gonna send you a picture of it, Faith.
This has
So
like
you,
beans and toast along with it. Yeah. What is it with him and beans and toast?
girl, wait a minute though. Wait a minute. I was telling my friends this because
Everything else looks
I'm like,
great.
that is the dumbest thing ever. Horrible. Absolutely a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And then I tried it, Faith. It is so good.
I just don't
It
like
is so good, Faith. I don't
those
know
are
why.
they look like baked beans. Are they baked beans?
Yes,
I don't like baked beans.
but they're a little different than American baked beans. They're really good.
I don't
And
like baked beans. I don't.
so I'm not really a baked beans fan at all either. But here, when they're a different kind of they're kind of like baked beans, but they're not the American baked beans. I don't like the regular American baked beans, but I love these. And I don't, since coming here, I have become a fan of the full English breakfast. That is a breakfast that you eat like for me, once every 3 or 4 months. This is not something that you eat every day.
Yeah.
You-
I was
you-
gonna say that. I was like, well, if you like an English breakfast, you definitely shouldn't eat it every day.
oh
Unless you're gonna
no,
go and be in the gym for like 2 to 3 hours, I
I
wouldn't recommend
disagree.
it.
I don't think even if you went to the gym every single day, if you had a full English breakfast every single day, the English breakfast it'll be English breakfast 35, exercise 0 because it would win.
Well,
You're
they
you're gonna
say
get you're getting gut and butt off of that meal. That's
they
like that. That's
s-
that full that the deluxe big breakfast from McDonald's.
mhm.
That's its cousin,
They
right
say you're
there.
supposed to eat like a lot for your breakfast and then go smaller and smaller with each meal. Like breakfast, you're supposed to eat like a king, lunch, you're supposed to eat like a prince, and then dinner, you're supposed to eat like a peasant.
I thought they found that wasn't true. That they ended up finding out that was kind of
Well,
a
everybody's
falsehood.
every body type is different, so I don't, that may work for somebody and may not work for somebody else. I don't know, but you shouldn't be
You
eating a full English breakfast every
No.
every morning
All right, what's
anyway.
all on it?
So
Okay, you get 2 eggs, three
a bunch of
sausages,
meat.
3 strips of bacon, hash browns,
Your cholesterol's gonna be
uh,
through the roof. My
baked
God.
beans, grilled tomatoes, grilled
Ooh, grilled tomatoes.
mushrooms,
That sounds good.
and I think it's Yorkshire pudding or something like that with it, which is like this little black like sausage. I don't know
Oh
quite
yeah,
what this
yeah.
thing is. And then you also get toast and coffee with it and maybe some orange juice. I'm
Y'all better
like,
have your blood pressure medication already set
you
out for
are
you after eating
you are
that.
all butt and gut after that meal. I am letting you know.
Oh gosh.
That's why they call it a full English because you get a full backside afterwards. Sorry, Faith. All
All
right,
right.
let's dive into this bad boy.
Moving on. Alrighty. So, this story comes from ESPN. So, college sports leaders are in deep talks to settle the name, image, and likeness antitrust case versus the NCAA. The leaders of college sports are involved in deep discussions to reach a legal settlement that will likely lay out the framework for the sharing revenue with athletes in a future NCAA business model, sources told ESPN. The NCAA and its power conferences are defendants in a antitrust case action lawsuit, House versus the NCAA, which argues that the association is breaking federal law by placing any restrictions on how athletes make money from selling the rights to their name, image, or likeness. The case is scheduled to go to court in January of 2025. If the plaintiffs win at trial, the NCAA and its schools could be liable to pay more than $4 billion in damages, which has motivated many leaders across the industry to seek a settlement. Sources indicated that a turning point in the discussion, which have been ongoing, came last week in the Dallas area, where the Power Conference commissioners, their general counsels, NCAA President Charlie Baker, NCAA lawyers, and the plaintiffs' attorneys met. They chose the Dallas area because they are already there for the college football playoff meetings, which were held in that area last week. While sources stress that no deal is imminent, details about what a multi-billion-dollar settlement could look like are expected to be shared with campuses in the near future. There are variables to get to the finish line, and still some obstacles and objections at the campus level, but sources indicate that progress has ramped up in recent weeks.
Okay. All right. I know you like to talk your college football, Faith. What is your thoughts on this so far?
It would be smart to reach a settlement instead of going to trial, because $4 billion in damages, that's a lot of money.
See, I think it's low. I think the 4 billion. I think it could be worse than that. That's. Go ahead, keep on.
But you got to think about the other, like all the schools though, and some of these schools can't really afford, $4 billion in damages. So I think that they should try to settle this before going to court about this. That's my opinion. You'd save yourself a lot of time and a lot of money, because you have to think, it's not just $4 billion in damages. It's also, you've got to pay, your lawyers. You've got to, you have all this money that you have to give out on top of the $4 billion. And so I think it would be a smart move to reach a settlement instead of going to court. That's my opinion.
Okay. First off, babe,
Yes.
settlement is priority number one.
Absolutely.
No matter what, that is their number one goal, is figure out a way to settle this. I don't think they have a chance whatsoever.
You don't think they can settle it?
No. I don't think they have a chance whatsoever to win the case. I give them
I don't think so either.
very little chance of winning the case. The evidence is too stacked against them. Where they've been making money for a century off of players, while restricting where players can make money themselves. So the smart move is to 100% settle this agreement, which means figure out a dollar figure that the schools could handle and afford, settle it, and then start. As I said, this lawsuit here is what's going to cause the College Football Super League, some of the things from that proposal to go in place. And this is already talked about, where you go in and you settle this lawsuit, and then schools are supposed to set aside like $20 million to pay their athletes. And that's the first step. First step is settle. Second step is now let players be able to get a regular income. By doing a regular income, now you can sign players to agreements and contracts, which then cuts down on how much transfer portaling you can do. If you're a player and you want to bet on yourself, hey, I'll sign for a year here, I'll sign 2 years here. But it cuts down on, hey, I signed with Georgia, Alabama's offering me more money, hit you with the deuces, I'm out. No, now you've signed a contract, or you've signed a 2-year agreement to play for Georgia, you're going to play for Georgia. This, has to be done. It also addresses the name, image, and likeness. I don't understand why schools are involved with name, image, and likeness altogether. That should be done away with completely. And what I mean by should be done away with is schools should be paying players. Go ahead. Okay, they are part of the school's employees. They're employees. So a University of Georgia player gets XYZ dollars a year to go to school and play football at the University of Georgia. Now, anything that you get as far as endorsements and sponsorships, that's up to you and your agent, just like the pro model is. These are professional players. So if you are Caleb Williams, let's use Caleb Williams, the number 1 pick in this year's draft, who got drafted by the Chicago Bears. He just got drafted by the Chicago Bears. He's the number 1 pick. He's going to sign for XYZ amount of dollars. And then his agent can go out and find him endorsement deals and sponsorships that are separate from that. Well, college football, it should be no different than that. The fact that colleges are involved in, hey, I'm going to get you a deal over at the auto dealership so you can do commercials for Billy Bob's Lincoln Mercury over here, and you got a Natty Light commercial sponsorship over here. Why are universities involved in the middle of this? Do you understand what I mean, Faith? Why should your school be looking for endorsements dollars for your running back, your quarterback, your tight end, and everything else, when that's not what they do? Universities' jobs are to play sports and educate their students. That's what they do. That's the contract they should sign them for. Go ahead, Faith.
I feel like a big part of the reason is probably because they are offering them, you know, full scholarship to school, and so I guess the universities feel like they have some sort of like authority over them because they're offering them a full ride to school, and so maybe that's why they feel like they can be in control of endorsements and things of that nature. Um,
Okay,
so
let's talk about what Nick Saban said about when they lost, and part of the reason what made him start thinking about retiring. When he lost, they hadn't even pretty much gotten over the loss, and right
mhm,
away it was like, "Hey, coach, this school is offering me this amount of money, and this school is offering me this amount of money, which is more than what you gave me last year. What are you
mhm,
going to get for me?"
mhm,
Well, hey, I got to go call the Buick dealership over here and see if I can go get you some more money. And I want to go see if I can get you a shoe deal over here and this and that. And so many coaches are getting out of college football because of the fact that they're like, we don't have enough time to coach. We got to recruit 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now we got to go get sponsorships and endorsement deals and everything else on top of that when they should not be involved in it at all. If you just went down and you just said and treated it like every model in the world is, you go ahead and get your agent. You're allowed to have an agent now. Your agent finds you deals. When we recruit you from high school, we're going to sign you to a 3-year deal that you're going to play with at the University of Miami for
mhm,
XYZ amount of dollars. Any extra money that you get through your agent, that's the way it should be. Schools, coaches, chancellors, recruiters should not be in the middle of trying to find kids sponsorships or being like, "Oh God, we got our star quarterback 7 sponsorships worth, $3 million." And now Georgia comes along and says, "Hey, we got 10 sponsorships worth $4 million if you leave your school." Do you see how does a school be able to compete and stay alive? This model helps everyone because they would settle that lawsuit. They would be employees. So now, hey, you signed a 2-year deal with the University of Auburn. You're going to play for the University of Auburn for the next 2 years. Now you can go talk to your agent and have your agent find you some other sponsorship. But I feel like college football needs to get out of this name, image, and likeness and make it so that schools can just focus on recruiting and educating educating the students, and that's what they do best.
mhm.
Repeating this and just saying, "Hey, we're going to start this," it's it's uh you know it's a slippery slope where college football keeps getting into all these slippery slopes where it's like, "Oh, we got to negotiate television deals. We got to negotiate playoff deals and bowl affiliations and handle lawsuits." What universities are meant to do were to just focus on educating their students and playing their games, and the NCAA handled everything else. That model has failed. They need to redo this whole model so that it fits them and helps the universities while at the same time helping the kids so that they're taken care of and the universities are taken care of. That's just my take.
Yeah. No, I agree. It would solve a lot of problems.
Yeah, and it's slowly, you're never going to get this college football super league like they're just going to sign off on the program that was presented.
Mhm,
It's going to be an a la carte type of situation. Yeah, we're going to take part of that. We're going to take part of that. We're going to take part
mhm,
of that. But over the next 10 years, you're going to step back And I think we're gonna look around and say, oh, it's the college football super league.
Mm-hmm.
It just slowly was enacted, slowly but surely.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep. Alrighty, guys. Well, with that, we are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about the Dallas Cowboys agreeing to terms with Ezekiel Elliott, and we will also be discussing the Kelsey brothers. So make sure you guys stick around, and we will be back in a minute.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were talking about the college sports leaders in deep talks to settle name, image, and likeness antitrust case versus the NCAA. Sorry, Tate has sent me something and I don't see I don't know what it is. And now we're going to be talking about the Cowboys agreeing to terms with Ezekiel Elliott, and we will also be talking about the Kelsey brothers as well. But I have to look and see what Tate sent me.
but I have to look.
It's just more English breakfast.
I just saw that one and I'm like, that's crazy. So I was trying to get it to you before break, but I got food on the brain right now.
Poor Tate's hungry.
But speaking of food, Ezekiel Elliott is about to get fed by the Dallas Cowboys, getting what?
That's
$3
one
million?
way to put it.
Hey, when you get a $3 million check, when you was kind of worried you may not get any check, that's not a bad deal. So go ahead.
Alrighty, so all of these stories in this segment are from Yahoo Sports. So for our first one is the Cowboys agree to terms with Ezekiel Elliott. The Cowboys haven't signed Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, or Micah Parsons to an extension, but they have reached a deal with another longtime member of the team. NFL media reports that the Cowboys have agreed to terms with running back Ezekiel Elliott on a contract that will bring him back to Dallas. No terms of that agreement have been disclosed. Elliott was a 2016 first-round pick by the Cowboys, and he remained with the team through the 2022 season. He was released in March of 2023 and signed with the Patriots last August. He visited the Cowboys last week to discuss a return to Texas, and the expectation was that a deal would come together. That expectation has become a reality, and Elliott will likely slot into the top spot on the depth chart for the Cowboys as they lost Tony Pollard in free agency and have not made any other significant moves in the backfields so far this offseason. So, they're not worrying about Dak Prescott or CeeDee Lamb or Micah Parsons, but they got Ezekiel Elliott.
So. Once upon a time, this would be big news. Like, oh, Zeke. I find it funny that the last time Dak was up for free agency, Zeke was up for free agency. Up for a contract, and Zeke jumped ahead of Dak. He went to Cabo and he was holding out, and so Zeke got his contract first, and Dak got his second. Mm-hmm. This time, Dak wants a new contract. Zeke's available.
Does he, though? That's the question.
Yeah, that is a great question that we can talk about in a second. Zeke sneaks in and gets him a small little contract. It's only $3 million.
Only.
Yes. Am I happy about it? Yeah, it's a nice story. Happy to have Zeke back. Does it move the needle? No. Zeke's best days are behind him. If you look at the numbers, since he signed his contract, each year his numbers have gotten lower and lower each year. And he didn't do great in New England. I know that toward the end they started using him a little bit more, but I don't know if I don't really know how much Zeke has left in the tank. You have Royce Freeman, you have Deuce Vaughn, and I think you still have Snoop maybe, but you're running. The big weakness for the Dallas Cowboys last year was their running game. I feel like Dallas addressed everything, every weakness that they had last year. They lost 8 players, but they're trying to fill those lost players with players that they picked up in the draft, and I thought they did a great job on offensive line and defensive line as far as replacing players. Not saying that the results will be the same when you're losing an 8-time Pro Bowler and things like that, but they're filling those slots. But the one thing they did not, fill. Everyone thought in free agent they were going to go after Derrick Henry or one of the big name running backs because they had a glaring weakness at running back last year. They didn't do it. So everyone was just convinced they're going to go out and get one of the running backs in the 3rd round or 4th round or 5th round, maybe the 6th round or something like that. They didn't do it. They didn't draft. They didn't sign a running back from free agency, and they didn't draft one. And that's concerning because the weakness of that team last year was the lack of running game. So their answer is to bring back 2 running backs that kind of have a lot of tread already on their tires, and Royce Freeman and Ezekiel Elliott. I don't know. I still have Dallas as the 2nd best team in that division. I have the Commanders right behind them. So I got the Eagles 1, Cowboys 2, Commanders 3. But if you told me that the Dallas Cowboys would miss the playoffs, I wouldn't be shocked. I would not be shocked. This whole all-in situation that everyone's talking about, I feel like it's the total opposite of that. It's kind of like, look over here while we do this over here, because nothing about this is all in. When you look at everything they have done, name a move that you've seen the Dallas Cowboys do this year that makes you feel like they're all in. Because that's been the topic of the Cowboys, right? Who has done absolutely nothing. I'm a huge Cowboy fan, and I'm okay with them not doing anything. For the record, I'm okay because I feel like the Dallas Cowboys are making the smart move. Yes, the salary cap hit for Dak is going to be massive. $40 million this year, about $35 million next year. But it's kind of one of those situations where it's like what they've been doing in the past hasn't worked. And nothing that they've done this year makes them better. When I look at the Cowboys, my question to you is, the Detroit Lions got better, Faith. The Rams got better. I feel like the 49ers are still the 49ers. The Green Bay Packers are better. The Eagles are better. But I think the Cowboys have taken a step backwards. And if you're taking a step backwards, that means, are they a Super Bowl contender this year on their all-in year? No. No, I don't see the Cowboys as a Super Bowl contender. So bringing in Ezekiel Elliott, I feel like that's the last straw. I mean, I figure they're gonna ride this out. This is the last dance. It feels like it's the last dance for Dak. And there's still talk that the Cowboys plan on signing him. But now, if you sign him, you should have done it before free agency. Now waiting makes it so you have no free agents and everything else. So it feels like it's the last run with him. I feel like Dak is on his way out. This is the last year for Dak. This is last year for Zeke. They'll sign CeeDee Lamb. They're going to sign Micah Parsons, and I think they're going to move on to the Dallas Cowboys after this year of the new Dallas Cowboys without Dak Prescott. So,
Well, I think somebody's mouth should have been kept shut about all in this year because
I think he said it more, he was answering a question, but if Jerry Jones sneezes in the wrong way, that is big news. Everything they're gonna take apart what Jerry Jones says. With that being said, you've owned the Cowboys for so long, everything that you say is gonna make news.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is one of those times where you shouldn't have made this comment because it just keeps coming up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, let's move on to this painful subject. I need some happiness in my life.
Alrighty, so moving on from that, we are going to be on the subject of the Kelsey brothers. So our first story is the Chiefs have signed have signed Travis Kelce to a new contract that reportedly makes him the highest paid tight end in the NFL. The Kansas City Chiefs know better than to screw around with a good thing, announcing Monday that they've signed star tight end Travis Kelce to a new contract that reportedly makes him the highest paid tight end in football. It isn't, however, an extension as initially reported. NFL's team's Tom Pelissero corrected his early report that Kelce's new deal was an extension through the 2027 season. Instead, he's getting a raise to $34.25 million on the remaining 2 years of his existing contract that runs through 2025. He was previously due $30.25 million over those 2 years. This jibes with a social media video the Chiefs posted of Kelce proclaiming, "I can't wait to get after it these next 2 years," in response to his reworked contract. The Chiefs haven't offered any clarification on the deal other than announcing that they signed Kelce to a new contract. The new deal pays Kelce an average salary of $17.125 million per year. That would make him the highest paid tight end in the NFL, stealing that title from Darren Waller of the New York Giants, who is making $17 million.
Okay. I just learned something from you on this one. I thought it was a contract extension. It is not a contract extension. That's the thing. That's just shocked me. Okay. I was expecting it to be an extension, and I thought it would have been a smart decision to make it an extension. But what they've done is they've redone his contract, which means I haven't looked at this, everyone, so I wouldn't. But my speculation is this rework contract goes, hey, we're going to reward you for reworking your contract. We'll make you the highest paid tight end. By reworking the contract, we change the salary cap hit that it goes against our contract. So it opens up more space for us for our salary cap space. And you get extra money.
Essentially doing what they have already done with Patrick Mahomes, because Patrick Mahomes' contract was reworked, I think, about a month ago.
Yes. So I think this is more of reworking a contract so that they have more money available. He'll get a big boost for working with the team, but it did not extend it. That's the thing that shocked me, was that it didn't extend it. And so it does give the team more flexibility this year. You know that you have Kelce for this year and next year. And then it's kind of one of those things where we'll kick the can down the road later on when you're looking around and saying, in 2 years, will Kelce still be at that same level? It's a smart move on the Kansas City Chiefs to, the contract. You make Kelsey happy. You make the general manager happy because it's a good, smart decision. It helps the team. It's the right decision. I'm surprised that Kelsey, they didn't fight for like at least an extra year on that contract, not extending it. That's the thing that surprised me most of all. So, but Kelsey
Kelsey is Kelsey.
The Kelsey brothers, like you were saying, when at first we were Kansas City signed the Kelsey brothers. First off, Kansas City would be happy to sign both Kelsey brothers for the record. But is there a family that's happier right now than the Kelsey family?
No. The Kelsey family is out there living their best life.
Their best life. So, speaking of Kelsey, we talked about young bro. Let's talk about older bro.
Yeah, so Jason Kelce has reportedly joining ESPN's Monday Night Countdown in the first post-retirement TV gig. So Jason Kelce is following his brother into the entertainment business. Less than 2 months after the conclusion of his 13-year career with the Philadelphia Eagles, Kelce has landed his first post-retirement gig. According to Andrew Marchand of The Athletic, Kelce will be joining ESPN's Monday Night Countdown pregame show as an analyst for the 2024 season. Kelce may have settled on ESPN, but they weren't his only option. Marchand reported that he had numerous suitors, including NBC and CBS. Amazon was apparently also interested, which makes sense since Kelce has a pre-existing relationship with them. The 36-year-old has earned a reputation for being charming, relatable, and honest, both on camera and off. That was always easy for Eagles fans to spot, but the team's 2 Super Bowl runs in 2017 and 2022 fully brought Kelce into the national spotlight. He and his wife Kylie also opened up their lives in 2022 for the Amazon documentary Kelce, which might have been Kelce's final NFL season. Instead, the cameras caught the Eagles' amazing journey to the Super Bowl and showed Kelce to be the heart and soul of the team. This new gig isn't Kelce's first foray in the world of NFL-related media. He already co-hosts the enormous popular podcast New Heights alongside his brother, Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce, who we already talked about,
who's already making major bank.
First of all, I just want to say, imagine retiring at 35. I would love to retire at the age 35.
Interesting. I think the key to life is to maybe not retire at 35, but live your life like you're always on vacation. That would be my way. That's been my goal. Hence where I live and everything.
Easier said than done.
I do understand. Kelsey on TV it's just smart. It's just smart. I might, ESPN. I kind of would have liked to see him go to, like, have done the Amazon gig instead. I feel like ESPN is so buttoned up sometimes and so stiff that it's hard. You don't get to see the full Kelce in all his glory. It's gonna be a lot stiffer of a program, so he's not gonna be able to be out there rocking out with his belly out.
I don't think that was gonna be the plan anyway. But the Pat McAfee show is a little more lax.
There's a big difference between Pat McAfee and doing the NFL Countdown show.
Oh, I guess
the Pat McAfee show is more of it's a podcast, it's a show. But NFL Countdown is very buttoned up and very straight. So you don't get to, I don't feel like you're going to get to see Kelce and his full, when I see Kelce, the greatest picture of all is when he's in Kansas City rooting for his brother. He's outside. Yeah, he has the beer in his hand, his shirt's off. and he's going, that's the Kelsey I want to see. Not the, I mean, it's great seeing Kelsey any kind of way we can get him, but it's just kind of cool to see, that Kelsey, or even the WWE version of him when he's in the ring and he's all jacked up and hyped up. That's, you're not going to get to see that Kelsey on ESPN. That's the only thing I was saying about that.
Yeah. Well,
so that's all.
Maybe it'll be nice to see him in a more professional light, because
Well,
he already does have his podcast with his brother, and his podcast with his brother is it's a very relaxed podcast. So you get to kind of see two sides of him. I think it'll be nice.
I tell you what, the moment I became a fan of his is when I was watching the podcast after the Eagles got eliminated, and his brother was kind of hitting, making little jabs about them being, and how personal he took that. And they had to you could tell he kind of got really sensitive about them losing. You could tell. And that was a very uncomfortable moment, but man, it was great video to view, because it shows how much he cares about playing football and how important it was to him. So from that point on, I was a fan of his. And then despite that, and his brother giving a hard time, right there, playoff start, he's 100% all in on loving his brother, supporting his brother, and just being awesome. So congratulations. Looking forward to seeing him on ESPN. And seeing where the Kelsey brothers go.
All good news for the Kelsey brothers this week.
Yes, it is. It seems like it's all good news every week for the Kelsey brothers right now. It's like it was the Manning brothers initially. Now it's the Kelsey brothers that have things going on.
Yeah.
So.
Alrighty, guys. Well, with that, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to dive into our dumb criminal story for the week. So make sure you guys stick around, and we will be back in a minute.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were talking about the Cowboys agreeing to terms with Ezekiel Elliott, and we also touched on the Kelsey brothers. And now we're going to dive into our dumb criminal story for the week. Fun times.
These are the ones that are always nice here.
Yeah. Alrighty, so this story was taken from the New York Post. So, Texas mysterious man dubbed Edward Scissorhand cuts neighbor's trees overnight. So, neighbors want to nip this vandal in the bud. Mystery man whose residents have dubbed Edward Scissorhands has been bizarrely snipping branches off residents' trees late at night in Fort Worth, Texas, stumping cops and neighbors. The self-appointed arborist oddball has trimmed at least a dozen trees on streets in front of homes in the area and was caught on camera several times mid-snip, according to CBS. Sometimes he'll just take a little bit, but then in other people's trees, he'll take massive gobs. Neighbor Ashley Tomman fumed. In home surveillance footage, the branch bandit can be seen doing the deed, normally around 3 a.m. with an unleashed dog, before stepping back to admire his work. Residents just want him to leave them alone. That was a good one. I was talking to my wife, Emily, and I was like, hey, we had a storm last night. Neighbor Jerry Balkenbush said, referencing downed limbs in front of his home. And she was like, "Oh no, that's Edward Scissorhands." And so I was like, what? His wife, Emily, said the limb lifter had earned the nickname, a nod to the 1990 Johnny Depp movie, due to his lust for slicing. People in the neighborhood were talking about it, and it seemed like he was just hitting certain streets. Emily said, "Police are now using the footage to investigate who the unwanted tree trimmer may be," the station reported. Other residents are peeved because they have had to pay for their trees through their homeowners association, and say the incidents are becoming more frequent. "He starts trimming the tree and admiring his work and kind of stepping back," said neighbor Danny Tommen, adding he wants the guy to cut it out. "We really just want him to stop doing this." So
Listen, okay, first off, Faith, you can't make everybody happy in life, can you?
No.
This dude is doing a public service. He's going around trimming trees. If I was still in California, I'd give this dude my address. Swing on by, trim up the bushes a little bit. Go right ahead.
Well, it depends on if he's like doing a good job or not.
Well,
I don't think people would be upset if he's doing, free landscaping, but
well, see, it sounds like he's taking a little bit off the side, a little bit off the top, making the trees a little healthier. He's kind of like the modern day Johnny Appleseed, let's just say. He's instead of planting apple seeds, he's going around trimming trees, making them a little healthier, so that the neighborhood is a little prettier, a little nicer. Why are you gonna send my man to jail? They trying to. You cannot. Okay, and first off, I hope this guy never gets busted, because how can you walk in there the first day in prison, you sit down, and Bubba walks over to you. "What you in for?" "Well, I was trimming up the trees." Come on, they gonna be like, "What? You trimmed a tree and a limb dropped on somebody and killed them?" "No, I was just trying to make the neighborhood pretty." You understand? You can't send my man to jail for trimming trees.
I don't know.
It sounds crazy.
It does sound crazy.
All he's doing is he's walking his dog at 3 a.m, and he's seeing some tree limbs that may need a little extra work. So he's doing the neighborhood a service. Those trees are healthier. The neighborhood is better off. You can't send my man to prison for that one. He gets a get out of jail free card in my book. Agree with me? Disagree with me? Help me, Faith.
I think it's a little extreme to call the police on a guy who's trimming trees. I mean, because he could be doing, a lot worse things than that. But I don't know if he's doing a good job trimming my trees, then I wouldn't, I'd just shut up. I wouldn't say anything. But if he's actually, making like bald spots and things in my trees that I have to pay through homeowners association, because don't even get me started on homeowners association.
Yes, I'm very aware.
So, but it does make me wonder, like, if this guy is okay, because the question is, why is he doing this at 3 a.m. and why does he have an unleashed dog with him doing it?
Because Johnny Appleseed, needed a partner. He needs that
Johnny Appleseed's partner. I didn't know he had a partner.
Wait a minute. No, I got it mixed up. That was
Paul Bunyan.
Paul Bunyan and the Ox. That's it. Wow, thank you, Faith. That's why we're connected right there. Paul Bunyan had Babe, and the Tree Bandit has his little, Yorkie out there.
Well, I do need to see. I didn't look to see like what the dog looked like, or if it was in the photograph that I found.
And his okay, for someone who's lived in a neighborhood who had a homeowner association that was very diligent.
Oh my God, don't give me a story.
We weren't allowed. You weren't allowed to cut your own lawn. You weren't allowed to trim the trees.
Homeowner association basically is like, you can't, no fun. No fun. Do you understand?
Back when you had little satellite dishes on the side of your house, the little dishes like
Yes.
Dish Network, DirecTV. You put one of those bad boy homeowner section to knock at the door. Excuse me, neighbor.
Did you know that now you can use AI in Adobe Express to make
That's not that gray.
literally
the
any
gray
image or
Dish
text
Network
redesign?
dish
You
don't
can make
match
something
the house. You gotta hire somebody to paint that dish to match the house, the color scheme of the neighborhood. That is a true story. They are so. Also, he could be out there trimming trees, doing the best he can, but you're never gonna satisfy everybody. You could be like, oh, he left us. He cut this branch down, and he had a spot open, or this and that. Well, lady or man, he's trimming at 3 a.m. That's not that much light. He can't step back and look at his work. Cut him some slack. How? Okay, he's a little sleepy, and he's cutting at nighttime. It's a Picasso. It's abstract
If he
art.
wants to trim trees, why doesn't he get a job with the landscaping company so that he can trim trees all the time if that's what he wants to do?
Maybe he's tried, and maybe they're like, sorry, we're full right now. We don't have any openings. So he decided to be the diligent individual that he is and get out there and start taking care of the neighborhood. I just don't want to see my man doing time with Bubba, and he got to tell people why he's in prison. They're taking his all his.
I don't know if they would really give him time. Maybe they put him on probation or something, because you are technically trespassing on people's properties.
So, but look at this. You
think
about it. Look at this. He cuts down this tree, that tree. That's like he got like 14 counts of trespassing and destruction of property. They could stack those together. He could get some time for this. I'm saying let my man and his Chihuahua go. I went from Yorkie to Chihuahua, by the way.
I'm gonna quote Tate. There are consequences and repercussions for your actions.
Ooh, that is a girl. When your kung fu is strong today.
I got you. I got you with that.
I can't even make a comeback.
You can't argue with that.
When you're using my own gospel against me. Oh my! But this dude, I'm assuming he's doing this for fun, but he's gonna get in real trouble for this.
I'm sure.
I think he's gonna get in real trouble for this, and his trimming days are numbered. They already think about all those ring doors.
I'm sorry, his tree trimming days are numbered. That is such a crazy sentence that just came out of your mouth.
It is. His trimming days are numbered. All these door cams out there nowadays. Mm-hmm. You can't be the aggressive arborist out there in the neighborhood chopping things down. You can't and think you're not going to get away with it. They're going to catch him. It's just a matter of time before he's behind bars and somebody's taking his fruit cup from him because he's not tough enough to be in jail.
Yep. Alrighty, guys. Well, with that, we're going to close out our show for the day. Thank you so much for tuning into the Andrew Tate Show, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content updates. Thank you once again. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great.